The Jesuits are a naked sword, whose hilt is at Rome, but its blade is everywhere, invisible until its stroke is felt. André-Marie Jean-Jacques Dupin, 1783 to 1865, French statesman.
The war, the American Civil War of 1861 to 1865 would never have been possible without the sinister influence of the Jesuits. Abraham Lincoln, 1809 to 1865, 16th President of the United States. Alas, I knew the Jesuits, would poison me, but I did not expect to die in so slow and cruel a manner. Pope Clement XIV, who had forever abolished the Jesuit Order in 1773. My history of the Jesuits is not eloquently written, but it is supported by unquestionable authorities, and is very particular and very horrible. There, the Jesuit Order's restoration in 1840 by Pope Pius VII is indeed a step toward darkness, cruelty, despotism, and death. I do not like the appearance of the Jesuits. If ever there was a body of men who merit eternal damnation on earth and in hell, is the Society of Ignatius Loyola. John Adams, 1735 to 1826, second President of the United States. The Jesuits are a secret society, a sort of Masonic order with superadded features of revolting odiousness and 1,000 times more dangerous. Samuel Moore, 1791 to 1872, American inventor of the telegraph, author of the book Foreign Conspiracy Against the Liberties of the United States. I have learned most of all from the Jesuit Order. So far, there has been nothing more imposing on earth than the hierarchical organization of the Catholic Church. A good part of that organization I have transported direct to my own party. The Catholic Church must be held up as an example. I will tell you a secret. I'm founding an order. In Himmler, who would become head of the Nazi Party, I see our Ignatius de Loyola, Jesuit founder, Adolf Hitler. The Jesuits are a military organization, not a religious order. Their chief is a general of an army, not the mere father abbot of a monastery. And the aim of this organization is power, power in its most despotic exercise, absolute power, universal power, power to control the world by the volition of a single man. Jesuitism is the most absolute of despotisms, and at the same time the greatest and most enormous of abuses. Napoleon I, Napoleon Bonaparte, 1769 to 1821, Emperor of the French. It is my opinion that if the liberties of this country, the United States of America, are destroyed, it will be by the subtlety of the Roman Catholic Jesuit priests, for they are the most crafty, dangerous enemies to civil and religious liberty. They have instigated most of the wars of Europe. Marquis de Lafayette, 1757 to 1834, French statesman and general, he served in the American Continental Army under the command of General George Washington during the American Revolutionary War. The public is practically unaware of the overwhelming responsibility carried by the Vatican and its Jesuits in the starting of the two world wars, a situation which may be explained in part by the gigantic finances at the disposition of the Vatican and its Jesuits, giving them power in so many spheres, especially since the last conflict. Edmund Paris, author of the book The Secret History of the Jesuits. The Roman Inquisition had been administered since 1542 by the Jesuits. F. Tupper Saucy, author of the book Rulers of Evil. It is impossible to read Elizabethan history, the history surrounding Queen Elizabeth I of England, 1558 to 1603, except in the context of an army of Jesuits, masters of deceit, treachery, treason, infiltration, subversion, assassination, insurrection, civil war, and coercion, plotting for the good of the papacy and the defeat of all the Pope's foes anywhere in the world. J.E.C. Shepherd, Canadian historian. Wherever a totalitarian movement erupts, whether communist or Nazi, fascist, a Jesuit can be found in the role of advisor or leader. In Cuba, it was Jesuit-trained Castro's father Armando Loret. Emmanuel M. Josephson, American physician and historian. The Jesuits are the deadly enemies of civil and religious liberty. R. W. Thompson, ex-secretary, American Navy. The whole frightful responsibility for this terrible 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648, must rest upon the Holy Roman Emperor Ferdinand II and his teachers, rulers, and bosom friends, the sons of Loyola, the Jesuit Order, the Theodore Griesier, German historian, 1873. The Jesuit Order at last reached the pinnacle of its power and prestige in the early 18th century. The early 70s, it had become more influential and more wealthy than any other organization in the world. It held a position in world affairs that no oath-bound group of men has ever held before or since. Nearly all the kings and sovereigns of Europe had only Jesuits as directors of their consciences, as confessor priests, so that the whole of Europe appeared to be governed by Jesuits only. 1927, using a short quote by Jesuit Cordara, Boyd Barrett, ex-Jesuit. If you trace up Masonry through all its orders till you come to the grand tip-top head Mason of the world, you will discover that the dread individual and the chief of the Society of Jesus, the superior general of the Jesuit Order, are one and the same person. James Parton, American historian. All these things caused the Father General of the Jesuits to be feared by the Pope and sovereigns. A sovereign who is not there, the Jesuits' friend, will sooner or later experience their vengeance. Luigi de Sanctis, official censor of the Inquisition. The Jesuits are simply the Romish army for the earthly sovereignty of the world in the future, with the Pontiff of Rome for emperor. That's their ideal, a simple lust of power, a filthy earthly gain of domination. Something like a universal serfdom with them, the Jesuits as masters. That's all they stand for. They don't even believe in God, perhaps. Fyodor Dostoevsky, 1821 to 1881, famous Russian novelist. For the Vatican and Comet, even then controlled by the Black Pope and his Jesuit Order, condemned the Declaration of Independence as wickedness and called the Constitution of the United States a satanic document. Avram Manhattan, author, from his book The Dollar and the Vatican. Jesuit Adam Weishaupt established the modern version of the Illuminati specifically to be a front organization behind which the Jesuits can hide after being formally abolished by Pope Clement XIV. In 1773, the Jesuits used the Illuminati and other organizations to carry out their operations. Thus, the front organizations would be blamed for the trouble caused by the Jesuits. Bill Hughes, author of The Secret Tourists and The Enemy Unmasked. The following sources, and note, Bill Hughes lists a number of books in later paragraphs, indicate that Jesuit Adam Weishaupt and the Rothschilds were the brains and the wealth behind the French Revolution. The Jesuits, Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, and the Rothschilds managed to cast the blame for the French Revolution on their front organization, the Illuminati. Bill Hughes, from his book The Enemy Unmasked. The favorite policy of the Jesuits is that of assassination. Brigadier General Thomas M. Harris. It would seem that the Jesuits had had it in mind from the beginning of the war, the American Civil War of 1861 to 1865, to find an occasion for the taking off, the assassination of Mr. Abraham Lincoln. Thomas M. Harris, U.S. Army Brigadier General, author of the book Rome's Responsibility for the Assassination of Abraham Lincoln. The Rothschilds were Jesuits who used their Jewish background as a facade to cover their sinister activities. The Jesuits, working through Rothschild and financier Nicholas Biddle, sought to gain control of the banking system of the United States. Bill Hughes, from his book The Secret Tourists. The SS had been organized by Heinrich Himmler, according to the principles of the Jesuit Order, the rules of service and spiritual exercises prescribed by Ignatius de Loyola, and, note, the founder of the Jesuit Order constituted a model which Heinrich Himmler strove carefully to copy. Absolute obedience was the supreme rule. Every order had to be executed without comment. Walter Schellenberg, chief of the Nazi Sicherheitsdienst, SD. The German author Walter Hagen gives also this discreet information. The Jesuits' superior general, Count Haupt von Ledichowski,
was ready to organize on the common basis of anti-communism, some collaboration between the German Secret Service and the Jesuit Order. As a result, within the SS Central Security Service, an organization was created, and most its main posts were held by Catholic priests wearing the black uniform of the Nazi SS. The Jesuit priest Father Himmler, uncle of Heinrich Himmler, was one of its superior officers. Edmund Paris, author of the book The Secret History of the Jesuits. The Jesuits, in control of Adolf Hitler's occultic and homosexual Third Reich, installed puppet dictators throughout Europe. They were Bavarian Germany and the Third Reich, Adolf Hitler, 1889 to 1945, Italy, Benito Mussolini, 1883 to 1945, Vichy France, Henry Philippe Pétain, 1856 to 1951, Spain, Francisco Franco, Austria, Seyss-Inquart, Poland, Frank, Slovakia, Jesuit priest Tiso, Croatia, Ante Pavlich, and note, alternate spelling, Pavlik, Belgium, de Grelle. All these Roman Catholic Jesuit-controlled, Jew-hating dictators were loyal to the greatest war criminal of all, Papal Caesar Pius XII, and his master, Jesuit, Superior General Vladimir Lenachowski. Eric John Phelps, author of the book Vatican Assassins. The term Jesuit has become synonymous with terms like deceit, chicanery, infiltration, intrigue, subversion. Many organized Jesuits have been justly described as treacherous, traitorous workers, seducing many in the service of the Roman Pontiff away from national allegiance. J. E. C. Shepherd, Canadian historian. I never knew a treason without a Romish priest, but in this, there are very many Jesuits who are known, Garnet in England, Cresswell in Spain, Baldwin in Flanders, Parsons at Rome, so the principal offenders are the seducing Jesuits, men that use the most sacred and blessed name of Jesus as a mantle to cover all manner of wickedness. Sir Edward Coke.